this is set for trial today.
Yeah, trial to the court, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Stratton's counsel, ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hill?
We would waive an opening, Your Honor.
Okay.
We'll waive opening, Your Honor.
Is there invocation of the rule in for separation and sequestration of witnesses? Or?
Yes, Your Honor. Wait.
Okay. I'll turn off the speaker. Keep your witnesses out until they're called.
Just ask the state.
Other than the defendant and the state can have a
Dakota, you'll have to go out in the hallway.
Okay.
The reasons for that, we want to hear what you had to say, not what you heard other people testify to.
Just like out here? Yeah, good.
So there's two files that we're trying these both together.
No, the DV, domestic violence is being dismissed today, Your Honor.
Okay, which one is that? The order on that is,
One's an assault, one's a DV, so.
that must be the assault is the 494 case, so that means 379 is the domestic violence.
And I believe he's paid the cost on that.
There has been cost paid. The state agrees with that the domestic violence is to be dismissed. Mr. Hill?
I'm sorry.
You agree the domestic violence is to be dismissed?
If the costs have been paid, yes.
They have been. Okay, so 379 is dismissed. So we're going to go to trial on the assault charge only.
Correct.
494. Both sides have waived opening statement.
Yes, Your Honor.
You want to call your first witness?
We'll call Paul Griffin Hill.
Paul Griffin Hill, come into court to testify. Paul Griffin Hill. Oh, he's here. Okay. Sir, if you come up here before you sit down, raise your right hand, I'll swear you in. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You may be seated, sir.
Sir, state your name, please.
Griffin Paul Hill?
Also, Griffin is your first name?
Yeah.
And now, we're going to talk about August the 6th, 2024. At that time, were you living at 710 Solida Road, Apartment A, in
Yes.
South Point? And who lives there with you?
My girlfriend, Dakota McCoy.
Dakota what?
McCoy?
McCoy.
On that day, did you have an altercation with Christopher McBride?
Yes.
Do you know Mr. McBride, and if you see him in the courtroom, can you point to him, please?
Yes.
Point to him, please.
Regular shape, please.
At that time, was he living in the same apartment complex as where you were living?
He was, but not supposed to be.
What is the name of the apartment complex? You don't know?
That I don't know. It's just on the little side in South Point.
So how many apartments are there?
4.
And you were living in A?
Yeah.
Now, you said he wasn't supposed to be there. What do you mean by that?
He was just squatting with the person that actually was the tenant there.
You made a complaint to the South Point Police about something that he did, and I would like for you to describe what happened.
What happened that day?
Yes.
I just pulled in from work. I seen him sitting outside. So as a man, I go to confront him on why he's doing the things he's doing, and he just physically and verbally got upset and just wanted to fight me pretty much. That's all he wanted to do. His words were, hit me so I can stomp your effing brains out.
Well, did he actually do something physical to you?
Yeah, he shoved me.
Say it again.
He shoved me.
Okay. Shoved you with both hands?
Yes.
Did it knock you down?
Pretty close. My girlfriend was right behind me. I almost tripped over her, and she was 8 months pregnant.
So you said that you wanted to, or that there was a discussion about things that he had already done to you.
Yes.
Explain what was going on that caused the confrontation.
He was just throwing dirt over into my yard, covering dog poop up, along with his dog's poop in it. The why? I don't know. We cleaned our dog poop up. The reason why there was, we've already asked him once. We texted the person that he was living with to ask if he was doing it. He said yes. He went and cleaned it up. But the next day, he done it again.
Did
Why?
you see him doing that?
Do I see him doing it?
Did
No,
you
but
see him?
I didn't see him personally, but I see his shovel right beside the hole that he's digging and the dirt sitting right in front of me on my property.
So you came home from work, got out of your vehicle, and was he outside at that time?
Yeah, he was just sitting on the back porch.
And is that in the same vicinity as where your
Yeah.
house is?
Yeah.
And so how did it start? I mean, did he
I
say
just-
something to you first, or did
No,
you
I
say?
just simply walked up and just asked him why he was throwing dirt in my yard.
And then, because of that, what did he say?
He flipped out, telling me that I'm not gonna come over here trying to be the man of this property, blah, 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 so on and so forth, then we got to other things.
Do you have a dog?
Yeah. I have
And-
2 of them.
2 dogs? And so this apartment, does it have a common lawn area? Or explain how that's situated?
Say it again. please.
Well, do you all share a lawn? or-
No, it's fenced off. We have, so if you have the apartment sitting there, 2 driveways, and there's a lawn that splits in between the apartment complexes that goes to the backyards, and there's a fence that leads out into 2 backyards fenced in. And he was just sitting on his side of the fence, and I just approached the fence.
Do your dogs get on his side of the fence?
Never.
Does he have a dog?
He did, yes.
So was he scooping dog feces up and throwing it into your yard?
His dog feces, yes, and putting it into my yard and throwing dirt over top of it.
And it wasn't your dog feces in his yard?
No.
Did anybody witness this happening when he shoved you?
My girlfriend Dakota and maybe the neighbors down the road a little bit. They were outside chilling, but I'm not completely sure. The cops talked to him, but
Okay. Is Mr. McBride still living next door to you?
no.
You still live at the same place, right?
Yes.
And that place is in South Point, Ohio, correct?
Yes.
That's all I have of this witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Ray?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir,
No.
just have a seat. You're not finished testifying yet. Okay.
So what time was it that you got home that day?
3:20. Get off work at 3 o'clock.
Okay. So you pulled into your driveway, you got out of your truck, correct?
My car.
Or your car, okay. Got out of your car, where did you go next after you got out of your car?
I'd seen him sitting out back, so I go and just ask him the question. I just walk out back.
You walk out back into your yard, up next to the fence?
Like the property in between the houses,
Yes,
that little piece of grass that we have, that's where I was at.
okay. So how close were you when you walked up to him?
From me to the door, I would say.
Okay, from that distance you were talking to him, about 20, 30 feet?
Yeah, and then he came at me. He threw his chair back and then he came at me.
Okay, how far were you away? Was he still in his property line when he came at
Yes.
you?
He
Okay,
came at me and then opened his gate and then went into my property line, telling me to come over there and hit him over there.
okay. So you, at no time ever came onto his property?
No.
Okay, all right. What were you saying to him whenever you approached him?
Why are you throwing dog poop into my yard?
That was
Along with dirt?
So that was your phrase, that was your question to him?
Yeah.
Why are you throwing dog poop and dirt into my yard? Did you say anything else to him?
No.
Did you cuss him?
No, he cussed me first.
Did you threaten him?
No.
Okay. Was at the time that you confronted him, was he actively throwing dog poop and dirt into your yard?
Yeah, the day before we confronted and texted his person he was living with.
That's not my question. My question is, when you arrived at your house, was he actively throwing dog poop or dirt into your yard?
No.
Okay. So you took it up on yourself to confront him about the issue that happened the day before?
When it was already confronted, yes.
Okay, all right. But he did not do anything to you at that moment that you got out of the truck
No,
or car?
no.
Okay. Okay. So, you say he came into your yard. What was he saying to you?
Hit me. Come on, hit me. Hit me, mother effer. Please hit me.
Okay. How far did he come into your yard?
He opened the gate and probably about 5 yards, just telling me, like, throwing his hands down, telling me to come in there.
Okay. So there's a gate in that fence where he can access your yard?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. What did you say to him? Did you say anything else to him?
I'm not gonna do anything. Like, I said if you hit me, then I will self-defense and
Okay,
retaliate back, but that's that.
all right. At any time, did you make movements towards him?
No, I had both my hands behind my back.
Okay. And you were stationary. At no time did you make any aggressive moves towards him?
No. He was
Okay.
squared up with me, ready to swim.
Okay. But he did swing at you, did he?
He shoved me.
Okay. Was that because you had gone up into his face
He got up my face.
on your property?
It was in the middle of that one.
So was that your property or not?
It's the landlord's property.
Also, it's common property.
It's just the landlord's property.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
think
you were
that-
at one place, and even though you don't think he's allowed to reside in that other apartment, okay, he was an invited guest at that apartment or a visitor. So my question to you is there a distinction between what that apartment's property will be and what your apartment's property would be?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so there's no, so this is common area then?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you mentioned the phrase earlier, and talking to him about you're not going to hit him. What else did you say to him?
That's pretty much it, that I'm not gonna hit him.
Okay. How did it end?
Him shoving me and going to jail.
He allegedly shoved you.
So
What did you do after that?
I stumbled back upon, and my girlfriend stepped in between us and was on the phone with the cops.
Okay.
The cops really rolled up a little bit as he was doing it, pretty much. So nothing happened afterwards.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Hill, is there a fence around, like you have a backyard area that's fenced in?
Yes.
And does Mr.
It's like,
McBride also have?
yes, it's like when you walk down that middle path in between the two apartments, there's a fence that splits right down the middle pretty much of that yard, and it separates our two backyards.
But then if you go outside the fence, there's more grass that isn't fenced in, is that the deal?
No, there's just neighbors' yards and stuff like that. I don't know if they're fenced in or not, though.
Had the issue of throwing the dog poop in your yard been addressed previously?
Yes.
Who did you discuss that with?
I had my girlfriend text the actual not the landlord, but the tenant of the,
Where he lives?
yes,
What's that person's name?
Tanya.
Tanya, is it Prosser?
Yes.
And so, do you think that he knew then that that communication had been made?
Yes, because
Same.
he went and cleaned it up that
Objection.
same day that we.
I sustain the objections.
After that communication was made, did he do anything that would indicate that he knew that the communication had been made?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
After the communication had been made between your girlfriend and Ms. Prosser, did Mr. McBride do anything that would indicate to you that he knew that that communication had been made?
Yes, he went
Objection.
and cleaned up the poop that same following day.
I would rule that.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Did you have any physical harm from this shoving?
No.
Any questions based on that question?
No.
No, Your Honor.
You can step down.
No, he doesn't.
He did.
We'll call Dakota, McCoy.
Do you want to say?
you'll come up to the witness stand, I'll swear you in. First, before you have a seat, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may be seated. Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dakota, can you tell the court your full name?
My name is Dakota Grace McCoy.
Do you live at 710 Little Solid Road, Apartment A in South Point?
Yes.
And does Griffin Hill live there with you?
Yes.
And you are, you have a, do you have a child with him?
Yes. She
Brand new.
is going to be 3 months on the 1st.
Okay. You all are still living at that apartment? Back on August the 6th of this year, there was an incident that's alleged between Griffin Hill and Christopher McBride that took place there at in the vicinity of your apartment. Were you aware of that?
Yes.
And did you see what happened, and are you able to tell the court what you saw that day?
Yeah. Do you want me to start from like the beginning or when I got outside?
Actually, what I'd like for you to do is tell me if you had, in the day or two leading up to this, had contact with the person who lives, Ms. Prosser, who lives in the apartment with Mr. McBride about something that was going on.
Yes. So beforehand, we had previously talked to her about him throwing dirt into our side of the yard that I share with my other neighbor, and his dog poop was in it. And we had talked about it to him before, and we said, let us know, because he had said it was our dog poop. He was trying to cover up the smell. And we're like, if you have a pooper scooper, let us know, and we'll come out here. We clean it up twice a week. We'll just come and do it, because he said it was the smell that was bothering him. And we had told her that, and she relayed the message to him before that happened again.
And you have dogs?
Yes. I have a German Shepherd mix and a Pit Bull, so they're big boys.
Now, are they kept in a fence behind your apartment?
They're inside, but yes, we have a fenced-in apartment, and they have 2 gates on both sides.
Okay. So did the dogs get out and do their business in Mr. McBride's yard?
No.
Okay. So does he have dogs?
He has a King Corso, I think. I'm not for sure. It was a puppy at the time.
Now, you said that he was throwing dirt and dog poop into your yard.
Yes.
Did you actually witness him doing that?
No, but my neighbors did and let us know.
And did you find the dog poop in your yard?
We found smaller dog poops, so our dogs are bigger, so they take bigger poops. So we found smaller dog poop in that.
Okay. So you talked to Ms. Prosser about it, is that right? Did Mr. McBride do anything to clean it up?
No.
Now, this incident on August the 6th, did you actually see something happen between Griffin Hill and Christopher McBride?
Yes.
Explain what you saw.
So I had come out of my apartment because I heard arguing, and I saw Chris. He was squared up, yelling at Griffin, saying, hit me, mother effer, hit me. He was saying he was going to stop his guts in, and I had intervened, and I was like, don't do this. I'm going to call the cops if you don't stop. So he told me to call the cops, so I did. So I went inside, I grabbed my phone, and I come back out, and while I'm on the phone with the cops, they had moved from, so we have 2 side doors, and there's like a middle section that we share that's grass. They had moved from like the middle part of that closer to where our cars are parked and the driveway part. And while I was on the phone with the cops, Chris was screaming, don't come on my property, this is my property. And Griffin was standing there on the grass with his arms behind his back. And then they were still arguing with each other, and Chris shoved him so hard that he flew backwards. His sunglasses fell off his head, and then that's when I intervened and was like, Griffin, get on our side, like, go to the apartment, like, the cops are on their way, this is not worth it, like, he just wants to cause problems with you.
Now, you referred to Mr. McBride as Chris.
Yes.
Did you know him already?
Yes, my best friend is actually one of his daughters. I had like not had like a personal relationship beforehand, but I knew of him and everything through that.
How long have you lived at that property there, apartment
I moved in
A?
August of 23.
Was Mr. McBride living there at that time when you moved in?
Yes, he lived there until about September of 23, and then he left, and we were informed by our landlords that he was not allowed back. and that if he wasn't back, he was trespassing. And it was me, Tanya, and then my old neighbor, he passed away, his name was Lewis. We were all informed that we were not allowed to have him back on the property. He was not allowed in our apartments and all of that. And then he ended up coming back in May-ish of 24.
And he was there,
Until he got evicted, I think, end of September.
that's all I have with this witness.
You may cross-examine.
Thank you, Your Honor. So is it your, Mr. Hillpaul, as it is? Griffin. He's your boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you when he arrived home that day?
I work from home, so I was inside.
You were inside, okay. Did you see him come home?
No, I heard the car come home, and then I heard my dogs barking, which is why I knew, like, I was telling him to stop because I work from home, and that's when I heard the arguing. So that's why I knew to go outside.
Okay. So when you heard them arguing, you say they were arguing. What was he saying to Mr. McBride?
I couldn't make out what was saying until I got outside. When I got outside, he was just saying, why'd you throw dog poop and dirt into our side of the yard? And then that's when he squared up with him, and he was lunging forward towards him, and he was like, hit me, mother effer, hit me, and saying all that stuff. And then Griffin was like, I'm not gonna hit you.
What else did Griffin say to him?
Just basically whole time I was out there, he was like, I'm not gonna hit you. If you wanna hit me, then that's fine. And that's basically what it was. Most of the argument when I got out there through the both of them was like, each of them were going back and forth saying hit me.
Okay. Where did this occur at?
In between our two apartments, there is a strip of grass that leads to our fences, and it happened right there.
So this would be considered a common area?
Yeah, it's shared between it's all the property of our landlords.
Yeah.
So it's like a shared grass section.
Shared between your apartment and where Mr. McBride
Yeah,
was?
it's shared between my side of the apartment and then his, because the way it's set up is there is two buildings, and each building has two apartments in it.
Okay.
And my side had my door, and then he was on the other side with his door. And then that side of the gate, both sides have doors to get into the backyard fence.
Okay. How tall is this fence?
I'm 5 foot, and it's a little bit shorter than me, so I'm probably up 4 foot.
4 foot, okay. So when you walked out, what was it that you exactly saw?
When I walked out, exactly what I saw was Griffin was standing there, and Chris was literally doing this motion, saying, hit me, motherfucker, hit me.
How close were they?
I'd say within a foot of each other.
Within a foot, okay. So you didn't see Chris come up on Griffin?
No, I did not see anything that happened before I got outside.
Okay. So
but I did see him shoving him.
Okay. So you could distinguish who approached who initially?
No, I cannot.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Hill,
I don't have any other questions of this witness.
you may step down now, thank you.
Yeah. And we'll call Patrolman Lewis from South Point Police.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You may be seated. Mr. Hill.
Thank you. Are you go by patrolman, is that right? What's your title? Officer?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, officer, tell the court your name and where you're employed.
My name's Officer Lewis, South Point Police Department.
Were you working there with the South Point Police Department back on August the 6th, 2024?
Yes.
Were you on duty at that time, and did you respond to a complaint at 710 Solida Road in South Point?
Yes, I did.
You familiar with an apartment, set of maybe 4 apartments that are there?
Yes.
At that time, did you actually go to that location, and when you did, what did you learn?
Yes, I did go to that location.
And what did you find out when you got there?
When I got there, the call originated that there was an assault that occurred at that address. When I get to that address, I spoke to the victim. Got there into the story on what was occurring at the time of my arrival. After I got their side of the story, I went and spoke to the suspect.
Was the suspect Mr. Christopher McBride?
Yes.
And did he talk to you about what happened?
Yes.
What did he say happened?
When I spoke to him, I asked him, hey, was you doing what you were being accused of doing, which was shoveling dog feces over into the neighbor's yard? And by speaking to him, he was already in an irate state, and he stated that he wasn't doing it, that wasn't his dog, but the victim had watched him previously for a while doing it, so that was the case for that.
Did you talk to him about an alleged assault?
Yes, I did.
Did he make any statements that would incriminate him concerning the assault?
Yes, when I asked him about it, he was sitting there smoking a cigarette, and he stated he did.
He did do what?
Put hands on the victim.
I think you said that he was already aggravated or upset at the time when you spoke with him.
Yeah, on his front porch.
Have you had contacts with him previously?
Yes, several.
And is it been?
Objection.
Well,
I'll take it under advisement. Let's hear what else.
when you've had contacts with him in the past, has he been in an irate mood, or has he presented himself as angry or upset
Yes,
about
majority
things?
of the time that's the case.
Did he, is that what he, specifically what he said, he put hands on Mr. Hill?
Yes, it was indicated as a shoving motion.
Okay. That's all I have of this witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Sherman.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer, you mentioned that the victims told you that they witnessed him throwing poop or dirt.
Yes.
What witness told you that?
It was the victim stated they were watching him for, I think it was their back window that would be closest to their fence, shoveling poop into their yard.
Was that Dakota or Griffin? Which one was that told you that?
It was the male victim.
The male victim. Okay. All right. So he told you that they witnessed it through their back window, that he threw poop and dirt over into their yard.
Yes.
What would you think? What would you think today if they testified that they never saw that?
And the statement that was written out would be correct.
When you arrived on the scene, where were the parties when you arrived on the
Both parties were separated on their front porch.
Okay. So you didn't see the incident?
No, sir. I responded to the scene after the fact that everything had occurred.
Okay. All right. Were you able, through your investigation, locate where this incident happened?
It was in between their two apartments. There's a fence that goes down it, right behind it, straight down. And I'm assuming that the backyard was where the incident occurred.
Okay. Did that look like some kind of common area where it occurred?
I mean, it's a fence going down between two houses, and you got two individuals that live in separate apartments. It's separated. I mean, it's not like right up on each other, so.
Were you able to determine on which side of the fence it happened on?
No.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Do you know how long after the dispatch that you actually arrived there?
It was maybe tops of 2.5 minutes.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Anything further, Mr. Sherman?
Nothing further.
You may sit down. Is the officer excused?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. You're free to go.
Yeah, thank you.
and we will rest, Your Honor.
Check.
Your Honor, call Christopher McBride to the stand.
Sir, come up to the stand, and swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, so God help me.
May be seated.
Will you please state your full name?
My name is Christopher Morgan McBride.
Mr. McBride, where do you currently reside?
I currently reside in Portsmouth, West Portsmouth, Ohio.
Okay.
I recently moved as a result of this incident.
When did you move?
I moved, it was on the 20th, I think, it was right before we were scheduled to move. I moved 3 days before the 14th of that month, which was, it'd be November or October, yeah.
This incident happened in August.
Well, like I said, I left shortly after the incident.
Okay.
When I told him I was going to move the last, I have to remember him because I have
That's
some
fine.
brain damage.
That's, let's talk about the incident that day. What were you doing prior to the gentleman arriving home in his car?
Actually, I just got done cleaning up after my dog,
Okay.
and I was sitting on the deck praying as I normally do.
So cleaning up after your dogs. Explain that.
Basically, I had a shovel, and when my dogs would use the yard as the toilet, I would scoop up the fecal matter, and I would dig a hole and bury it.
Okay. Where would you bury it?
I buried it in my rose garden, where
Okay.
they poisoned my roses that were my mum owns.
Is that in your yard?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Within your fence?
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever scoop up poop and dirt and throw it on the other side of the
No,
fence?
sir. No, sir.
Did you throw it into their yard?
I put dirt in their yard to cover up the fecal matter as I prayed, and I just was trying to sidestep an altercation.
Okay. Did you do that the day before this incident?
No, sir.
Okay. You ever had discussions with them about that?
No, sir.
Okay. So, you said you were sitting on your porch when he arrived home?
I was sitting on the back deck
On the
at
back
my
deck.
utility building
Okay.
in my backyard, 100 yards from the end of the road.
Okay. What happened when he got home?
Basically, he come running towards my fence, stood there, proceeded to yell profanities. Actually, I stood up, I tried to explain, he kept running off at the mouth.
Well, let's take it step by step. You say he ran up to your fence?
Yes, he ran up to the fence.
What do you mean ran up to his fence? Was he
He was
leaning?
running like he was ready to attack.
Okay. Did he come in the fence at that time?
Actually, no,
Okay.
he didn't.
So he was talking to you above and across the fence?
Yes, standing in front of my fence with his arms at the top of the fence, leaned over, trying to show his presence over me because I'm a little fella.
Well, where were you?
I was in my backyard.
Okay. Were you, at what distance were you from him?
I was a good maybe 1.5 2 foot because he was going at it.
In your yard?
Yes.
Okay. Without using any curse words,
Yes, sir.
okay? What did he say to you?
He was calling me the F word. He told me that he was 23, he's going to whoop me. I'm an old man with no teeth. He told me that he's tired of me putting dirt in the yard. And I tried to explain to him why I put dirt in the yard, but he wasn't hearing that. He wasn't going to hear it, so I proceeded to make my way through the gate because he wouldn't let me out.
So was he blocking
Yes.
your gate to your fence?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do?
At that point in time, I got nervous because I've had some issues, you know. So at that time, I got really scared, you know, nervous. So I proceeded to kick the gate open because he would not move. And as I did so, he jumped out of the way, coming right back at me. And as I'm trying to proceed to the front of my house, he's standing, hovering over me, pushing me with his body, shoving me, putting his hands in my face, putting his fingers in my face, telling me that I don't belong here and that it's going to take a year for me to get out of here. And he's pissed off because they want me out.
So let me ask you this. When all this was happening, were you retreating up to your porch?
Yes, sir. I was trying to get out of the way because I've been taught to keep moving, never stand still because someone will hurt you. And in the event that they are, you constantly move, make forward progress. So I made forward progress to the front of my porch. And once I got to that point where people could see, that's when he run towards me and come right on the sidewalk. And I caught him because I had my back to him as I was talking to my neighbors, Arthur Smith and his family. He proceeded to come running full force at me. And at that juncture, I turned and met him.
How close was he to you?
I say he started on his property and he proceeded up to my property to the edge of the concrete, which is 3.5 foot on my property. And he posed a danger to me, so I made sure he wasn't going to get near my front door, my family, or my mother-in-law.
How close was he to you personally, to yourself?
Personally to me,
Yeah, at that time.
at that time, he was right in my face.
Okay, so he was within inches?
The whole time he was right in my face until I walked away. When I walked away, he come running at me. And that's when I asserted my aggression.
Okay, so he was up in your face, acting aggressive towards you, threatening you.
Yes.
Okay, and was sort of keeping you from,
Like a hostage, yes.
like a hostage.
Against my
Okay.
will. He was trying to keep me against my will. He didn't want me to come out of the backyard.
Okay, and so in that situation, what happened?
I tried to get to the back door, which the back door, I have to go through the gate to get to the back door. And I have the concrete laid up against the house there. And he was trying to shove me in the corner.
Okay.
So that's when I kept telling him, either hit me or get away from me because you're not going to do nothing. This is stupid. I said it 5 times as I proceeded forward progress to the front of the apartment. The minute I turned my back to walk away, he proceeded to charge me.
Okay, so did you merely just push him out of the way to get away?
Basically, I was moving him out of the way because I thought he was going to hit me. And he proceeded to go where he shouldn't have. So that way I set a boundary and that was it. That was the boundary. You crossed the boundary and, I'm going to defend myself because I sat there and I had to tell him 10, 20, 30 times. He never would listen to the point that I'm screaming at the top of my lungs.
Okay. So, at any time during this, when he first arrived at the house, did you do anything to provoke him or to make him come up and run up on you and cuss you and threaten you?
Not that I'm aware of. I've never even set eyes on him until that. Actually, I set eyes on him one other time. He offered me some marijuana and I refused it because I'm a medical marijuana patient and I'm not allowed to smoke streetwise marijuana. So after that, I kind of started watching because I could tell he had animosity towards me. And during that point, I proceeded to tell my landlord about an altercation that was getting ready to happen because of what's going on.
Just to clear up, where you were living there, how long have you been living there?
I've been a tenant there for 10 years.
10 years, okay. Is the lease in your name?
The lease was fraudulently changed during the midst of this, which is a long story, but I was finagled, I was kind of pushed out of there by harassing because I don't even know what it is. I don't even know why.
You received mail there,
Oh, yeah.
and that was your residence?
Yeah,
You
I
had
have
your
a
clothes
permanent
there.
address there.
Permanent
I have a
address.
mailbox, post office box, permanent address. It is my address.
Okay,
I was drawing food stamps, I was on welfare while I was living there.
all right. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Hill.
How many of the different apartments there have you lived in?
Me? Only
Yeah.
one.
Objection.
Just one.
It's not relevant, but either way, it doesn't
Just
really
one.
matter.
Well,
I just didn't think it was relevant. Go ahead.
I mean, it maybe on its own it's not, but I think I can.
Link it up.
How many times have you lived in that particular apartment?
One time.
Were you forced to leave at one time?
Basically, I was harassed to leave.
By
And
the
I also
landlord?
I had troubles with the landlady because at that time I was facing some hardships because I was involved in an altercation at work, a work-related injury, accident. My coworker was killed, and I had been trying to rehabilitate through all my heart conditions and everything.
Objection.
Sustained.
I,
You know,
It's not relevant.
yeah, don't worry about it.
But,
Okay, sir, you don't have to answer that question.
sorry,
Sorry.
sorry.
Tanya Prosser was your girlfriend?
No, sir.
Well, you were living there with her,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay. What was your relationship with her?
Objection.
Sustained. It really doesn't matter.
Family friend.
Were you aware of a communication between Tanya Prosser and the young lady that lives next door there, Ms. McBride, about a day or two before this incident?
Objection.
What? It matters.
It doesn't
I mean,
matter.
I'll allow that. but
No, I wasn't aware of no alter because I don't talk to them. I don't consort with them. I don't know them. I do not want to, I stay to myself.
So you're saying that you've never seen Griffin Hill before?
No, I'm saying that I've only seen him one other time before the incident and he offered to sell me some weed or smoke some weed with me and I proceeded to tell him that.
So the one and only time you never had any seeing him ever, even though you've been neighbors for I don't know how long?
We haven't been neighbors because he didn't live there, sir. The whole 10 years I've lived there, he's never lived there.
And when he came,
He showed up there.
when he came in and parked his car, gets out of his car, where are you at that point?
I'm in my backyard at my building on my deck, 100
And-
yards from the road.
And there's a back door to the house,
Yeah, I have a back door there, yes.
so you can go in the house from there.
I tried. I was kept from going into my back door.
You're saying he came all the way in your
Yes, he tried to
backyard,
push me in a corner.
pinned you in so you couldn't get in your house?
Yes,
And
He
it's
said it's not
interesting
my
though,
house.
because the officer doesn't say anything about you telling the officer what happened.
I wasn't allowed to speak to the officer. I wasn't allowed to tell my side of the story. I wasn't even read my rights. I was just put in the car with the window shut. And I explained to him about my medical conditions and things like that, and nobody wanted to hear it. They just took me to jail.
Is part of your medical conditions that you have some anger
Objection.
issues?
No, sir. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I have panic disorders. And I have my heart. I have a recurrent arrhythmia, tachycardia. I have non-ischemic cardiomyopathy. So I'm actually terminally ill.
You'd mentioned that somebody poisoned your roses.
Yes.
Who poisoned your roses?
Objection.
I can't really say, I can't, I'm not going to.
Sustained. You don't have to answer it. Doesn't matter. It's not relevant.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You may sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Any other evidence?
No, Your Honor. The defense rests.
Any rebuttal from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, there's two elements in this case, and it seems like it's like serious physical harm, doesn't have to be serious physical harm, or an attempt to cause physical harm. There's no evidence that there's an attempt to cause physical harm.
I
And there was an admission that there's no physical harm. So, not guilty.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well,
God bless you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. God
putting
bless you.
hands on someone and shoving him does not mean you attempted to cause physical harm necessarily. Case is dismissed.
State of Ohio versus Amy Slaughter, CRB 24-531.
Okay, this is Mr. Smith's case.
It is, Judge.
If I could have 30 seconds, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, so we ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. We'll call for a separation of witnesses.
Join that motion, Judge.
Okay, anyone who may testify in this case must stay out of the courtroom until they're actually called as a witness.
You have to stay.
Austin. No, I'm going to use the other lady.
Does he need to say? Yes, he's. Wait, does he need to?
Yeah, she wasn't there. We'll waive opening, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith,
Likewise, Judge. Please open.
call your first witness.
Call Austin Crabtree.
All right, sir, raise your right hand. Stand up. Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? You may be seated. Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Your Honor. Austin, state your name.
Austin Crabtree.
You're 17 years old, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You still live in Proctorville, Ohio?
Yes, sir.
Back on August the 10th, 2024, were you at the Village of South Point Community Park?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, did you have an altercation with Amy Slaughter?
Yes.
Do you know Amy Slaughter?
Yes.
Do you see her in the courtroom? And if you do, can you point to her, please?
The record will show you pointed to the defendant.
So, why were you at the South Point Village Park?
I was playing Pokemon Go with my girlfriend's family.
Playing Pokemon Go with your girlfriend's family?
Yes.
That you said, is that something that you would often do there at the park?
Yes.
Now, who's your girlfriend?
Isabel Christian.
And who else was there that you know?
JT Christian, Cara Christian, and our little brother, Colton Christian.
So, while you were there, did you have contact with Chloe Slaughter?
Yes, sir.
Who is Chloe Slaughter?
That's Amy's daughter.
How do you know her?
She is my kind of my niece by marriage.
Was there something that existed already, some kind of a problem that you really didn't want to talk to her?
Not that I know of. I was told by my mom and my girlfriend's parents not to speak to them, so there was no drama going on.
Did you have any kind of problem with Chloe that day?
No.
And Chloe's mother is Amy Slaughter?
Yes, sir.
At some point, did Amy Slaughter come to the park?
Yes.
Do you know why she came to the park?
No, I said something, it wasn't out of the way, but I said something to her daughter about, I told her, please go away, I'm not supposed to talk to you, because she came up and asked for a charger, and then shortly after, her mom showed up.
So you told her you didn't want to have anything to do with her?
Yes.
Did Amy Slaughter then come to the park?
Yeah.
And did she confront you about something?
Yeah, she came up to me and started yelling at me and grabbed me on my shirt right here. And I'm not positive why she was yelling at me, but she came up and grabbed me, and then my girlfriend's dad came up and got her to let go of me. And about that time, she spit on me.
She spit on you?
Yes.
And did she do anything else to you?
Yes, after she spit on me, I was wiping my face, and she looked around her husband and my girlfriend's dad and flicked a cigarette at my head.
Did that cause any, like a burn or anything like that?
I mean, it hurt at the time, like it burned a little bit at the time, but it wasn't anything major.
Now, when she grabbed you, what did she do?
She grabbed me and was like pulling on my thing as she was yelling in my face.
And did she say anything to you?
Yes, but I honestly don't remember exactly what she said.
Was she being hostile towards you?
Yes, she threatened me on multiple occasions. That was after the fact of all the physical part. She told me that my girlfriend's parents ain't always gonna be there, and if she finds me out with my girlfriend's little brother, that she beat my aide, and then my girlfriend's parents finally got me to go back to the car, and as they continued to yell at us.
Okay, I want to make sure I understand what she said. While this was all going on, did she make threatening statements towards you?
Yes.
What did she say now?
She said that if she finds me and my girlfriend, first she said that my girlfriend's parents ain't always gonna be there, and that she finds me and my girlfriend's little brother out. Well, she said if I find you and that little boy with you out, I'm gonna beat your ass. Excuse my language.
Okay. Now, do you think that she was trying to cause you physical harm?
Yes, sir. I felt kind of like she was attempting to jump me because she got out of the car with her husband and like 6 other kids, and they all started running at me. So I felt the intent of danger when her and everybody else got out of the car.
Did anybody else do something to assault you?
No, sir. Just her.
Now, there were people there that you were with at the time. Did anybody assist you when this was going on?
My girlfriend's father got me out of the way, but he grabbed my arm and like put me behind him, but he never put his hands on anyone else, or nobody else put any other hands on anybody.
And that's James Christian.
Yes, sir.
And then Cara Christian was also there.
Yes, she came right after JT, and she's the one that got me and my girlfriend's little brother all go back to the car because they don't want us to get hurt. So.
Was she there during the whole incident?
Yes, she was there from the moment that JT got me to get behind him and when she spit on me to the end of it.
That's all I have of this witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Judge.
You still have to sit there.
Oh,
He's going to ask you
Yeah,
some
he's
questions.
going to ask you
Oh,
questions.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Crabtree, what time of day or evening or night did this happen approximately?
I'm going to say it was right before they started getting dark at 5 o'clock, so about 7:38.
So it was evening, dusk, dark, getting dark?
It was getting dark.
Getting dark, okay. How long had you been at the park prior to my client arriving?
About 15, 20 minutes.
Was Chloe there prior to your arrival, or did you get there?
She was already there
Okay.
when I got there.
And you say she asked you to, I thought you said borrow a charger, a phone charger?
Yes.
Okay. At that point, you told her, I have been told not to talk to you.
Yes, I asked her if she could please go away. I'm not allowed to talk to you.
And then sometime thereafter, my client arrives at the park, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is this South Point Park, is that the one that's near the police station?
Yes.
Okay. I'm familiar with it. Okay, so who was with my client? Remind me, you said I think a bunch of kids or who all?
I'm not positive exactly, but I know it was her son, I think one of her daughters, and then there's 2 other kids that I'd never seen before.
Okay. And my client came up to where you were standing. Where were you in the park? Let me do it that way.
We walked over to the bathroom because that's what
Okay.
while we were over there. We walked over to the bathroom because I had to go to the bathroom and the bathroom's closed. So when I was walking back, we were in the little playground part with a bunch of mulch and the swings and all the equipment, and that's when she and somebody else behind her, I think it was her husband, who was running up over to us.
Okay. So she and someone else run up to you, and you say she grabbed your shirt?
Yeah, she grabbed me right here.
She grabbed it right there.
Yeah, I was wearing a t-shirt. She grabbed like
Okay.
Like the,
Well, when she grabbed the T-shirt, she didn't grab your skin, she just grabbed the shirt, right?
yeah, she like just grabbed my shirt.
Okay, but that didn't hurt you when she grabbed the shirt. It was annoying, but she didn't hurt you.
Yes.
Okay. And then you say she had some type of words with you that she was going to beat your ass if you talked to Chloe or something to that. You can tell me again. What did she say?
I don't remember exactly what she said, but when she continuously yelled at me, and then as we were walking away, I was with my girlfriend's little brother and my girlfriend, and she continuously yelled that if she catches me and my girlfriend's little brother out, that she will beat my ass. And before all that, she said, they will not be with you all the time. And
She's yelling. She's not grabbing you. She just.
no, this was after she grabbed me.
Okay, she let you go, and then she proceeded to yell at you.
Okay, so she didn't let me go. JT made her let me go by pushing me behind him, and that made her release the grasp on my shirt, and she continued to reach around and try to grab me.
Okay.
And that's when she started.
So when she grabbed you and tried to grab you, it didn't hurt you?
No, sir.
Okay. And then you say she spit on you?
Yes.
Okay, was she yelling at you pretty vocally?
No, she never spit on me when she was yelling at me. She full on put mucus in her mouth and spit on me.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Did you have a cell phone, or did this other fellow have a cell phone?
Can you refer? I don't understand what you mean.
Did you have a cell phone with you that day?
Like in my hand?
Well, yeah, with you.
Yeah.
Okay, and did this, who's the other fellow? I'm sorry.
You talking about my girlfriend's little brother?
Was it James?
JT.
JT, okay, is that James Christian?
Yes.
Okay, that's what, okay, James and JT are the same person.
Mhm.
Okay. Did he have a cell phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did either of you capture any video of this alleged incident?
No, sir.
Did either of you take a picture where she's supposed to spit on you? Did you had spit on you? Take a picture of that?
No, sir, because I wiped it off on my shirt.
Okay. Fair to say that the spitting on you, if it happened, did not cause you physical harm, did it? It's gross.
Okay, but it could have caused physical harm if she has some kind of disease. I could have gotten it.
Okay, but it could have, but it didn't. When it didn't cause you physical harm.
I mean, I guess not. But
Did it hurt?
you can't spit on somebody and hurt them.
Okay.
That's not how it works.
Okay, that's fair enough. You can't spit on somebody. Okay. What about this cigarette? You say she, I don't know, flicked. How did the cigarette get tossed on you? Explain that to me.
In front of me was James Christian, JT.
Yes, sir.
And in front of him was her husband, and behind her husband was her. She leaned around her husband and JT and flicked the cigarette at me and hit me right here.
Okay. Did it singe your hair?
Actually, yes, it burned it a little bit.
Did it land on the side of your head?
It hit me on the side of the head, and some ashes came off it because it was a lit cigarette.
Did you seek medical treatment?
No, sir, because it wasn't like second-degree burns. It still hurt, but it didn't cause major damage to my head.
Which hand did she throw the cigarette with? Left or right?
Right hand, because she leaned around like this.
Take a picture of the cigarette?
On the ground, I had no idea where it landed. I don't really understand how that's an ethical question.
It's not up to you, sir. You just answered the question.
So she flicked the cigarette, it somehow stuck, but did it hit and bounce off? Or did you have to pull it out of your hair?
It bounced off my head.
Okay. And at some point, do you leave or does my client leave? How do you go different ways?
I left as she was yelling at us. We got in the car and left, and then we called the police on the way back to the house, and we met them at Casa Grande because it was hard to explain where we were exactly.
But you didn't go to the police station that's right there by the playground?
It was closed. There was nobody there, no cars, nothing. The lights were off, everything was, nobody was there.
So instead of having you stay there at the police station, or police department in South Point, did they tell you to drive to Casa Grande? Were you, who's driving? Let me ask you that first.
JT.
Okay, did you?
We called the police, and the police told us, asked us where we were, and
Uh-huh.
we said we were going back to the house, and they asked where that was. We tried to explain to them, and we said, yeah, right behind Casa Grande, and they said, can you just meet us at Casa Grande? So we went to Casa Grande and filled out a police report.
So you didn't take a picture, look for the cigarette on the ground, did you take a picture of your head?
No, sir.
No further questions, Judge.
Redirect.
Nothing else, Your Honor.
You may sit down, sir.
We'll call Cara Christian.
Cara Christian, come into court. Cara Christian.
Stay right there.
Ma'am, if you would raise your right hand, I'll swear you in. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You may be seated.
Cara, state your name and your address, please, for the court.
Cara Christian, 54 Township Road, 1428 West, South Point, Ohio, 45680.
Ms. Christian, we're talking about an incident on August the 10th, 2024 that happened at the South Point, I think, Village Park.
Yes, sir.
Were you there that day?
Yes, sir.
Austin Crabtree, do you know him?
I do. He's my daughter's boyfriend.
Was he there also?
Yes, sir.
And what time of day was this happening, or you were there?
I'm going to be honest. I cannot tell you the time. I can tell you that it was evening. It was dark. I honestly can't.
Okay.
8, 9, somewhere in
Okay,
there.
that's close enough as far as I'm concerned. And what were you doing there?
We had been out driving around playing Pokemon, and we all needed to get some Pokestops. So there's quite a few Pokestops that you can walk around the park and like spin it and get balls. It's a game. We're playing a game.
It's a computer game?
It's on your phone.
On your phone.
We all have it downloaded, and we kind of play it as a group.
Okay, so you go to locations and you get points, or you collect a Pokemon when you go to a certain location?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so who all was there doing that?
With us, it was myself, my husband, James, my daughter, Isabella, Austin, and my son, Colton.
While you were there, did Amy Slaughter come to that location?
She absolutely did.
Do you know Amy Slaughter?
I absolutely do not.
Okay. Was that the first time that you'd ever had any dealings with her?
It is the first time that I had ever spoken to her. It is not the first time that we had seen each other. Am I allowed to speak on that?
No, not unless I ask.
Sorry.
Did you witness an altercation between Amy Slaughter and Austin Crabtree?
Absolutely, yes I did.
I would like for you to tell the court about, from the first point at which you became aware of Amy Slaughter and when she arrived there at the playground and everything that happened.
Okay, so we initially started, the kids went over to the playground area. My husband and I walked the track. We went and said there's like this big round concrete, I think it's a stage maybe. It's got like 2 little steps up. We went and sat down there. The kids were over like on the swing park area. They came and asked us if they could walk to the bathroom, because even though we let them go play, it was dark and we don't let them go off on their own. So they asked if they could go to the bathroom. I said, absolutely, just let me know when you're done. And my husband and I went back to playing the game. All of a sudden we heard a car like speed in, and then as we looked up, there was just people jumping out like everywhere, like scattering. And all of a sudden I heard my son, he was 14, I heard my son screaming, "Mom, hurry."
Objection, what her son screamed.
I'm sorry?
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, so my son was screaming, "Mom, hurry, Mom, hurry." So, and then I heard Austin scream, "Cara, JT." And so we went running. It was the most horrible feeling in the world. And as we get over there, Miss Slaughter had Austin by his shirt, and she was slinging it around and threatening him. And when we got over there, my husband, sorry. When we got over there, this is a lot. Okay. When we got over there and got them separated, she then, her husband was behind her. She was in front. She took charge. She ran towards the kids. And then I was running, my husband ran to them. I was running at an angle because I saw the man going this way. And I'm like, and I met with him. I'm like, "What's going on? What's the deal?" And we got back over there, and her husband, she went around her husband. Her husband was like in front of her. She went around him and spit in Austin's face. As she's still like reaching for him. She was still reaching for him, but I'm like, "Get behind me." And she reached and spit in his face. And as I turned, and then still threatening him, she kept saying, "It's my brother. I can do this. It's my brother." And I'm like, "No, it's not. And no, you can't. He's a child." So anyways, after that, she's continuing yelling, screaming, and then she flipped a cigarette and hit him in the side of the head with it.
Now, the first thing you said was that she was grabbing him and trying to sling him around.
She had him by his shirt.
And I would like for you to explain that as clearly and as in much detail as you can.
Okay, so when we got up to the park, I grabbed Austin. So she had Austin by his shirt, and my daughter kind of got in between them. And then my husband was there, and I'm here, and I'm screaming, "Austin, you over here. Isabella, you over here," because I'm trying to separate everybody. This is a lot. I'm sorry.
Do you need me to ask the question again?
Please,
All right. What I want to know is when you're saying that Ms. Slaughter had her hands on Austin.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I would like for you to describe exactly what she was doing to him.
She had him by his shirt, right? Can I stand up?
Can she stand up now? Maybe.
I don't object.
She had him by his shirt, and he was doing like this number to get away. And as he got away, and I'm screaming, "You get back here. Austin, you over here. Isabella, you here." And she went around and spit in his face because she couldn't get a hold of him anymore.
Did it look like she was attempting to cause him physical harm?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And she was yelling and screaming that nobody's going to threaten her kid. And we're like, and I kept telling her, "You talk to me, I'm the adult." And she didn't. She wanted to continue to talk to Austin and be aggressive towards Austin.
Did you hear her say anything about maybe something that she would do in the future?
Yes, she said that it's okay, it's not over, I'll see you. And she said the same thing to my son.
And what's your son's name?
Colton.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith?
When you left the South Point Park, where did you go?
We went to, so we were leaving, we were just going home, and we were talking, we decided to call the police, and I was like, "Hey, I don't want to go back there because they're there, you want to meet somewhere else?" And we live kind of close to, or we live close to Casa Grande, so I went and checked on my husband's grandmother. She's 81, just to let her know, "Hey, we're going to be a bit," and then we went straight over to Casa Grande to meet the officers.
You said my client was holding Austin's shirt, but he was able to back up and get away, correct?
Yeah, he was backing up away from her, and My daughter was kind of in between them.
Okay, so he got away.
He did.
Nothing further, Judge.
Did you try to go to the South Point Police Department office there
Jackson,
first?
Judge exceeds the scope of my cross-examination.
I'm sorry?
You asked him.
She said she went to Casa Grande.
That's true. All right, I'll sustain it.
All right. That's all I have, Your Honor.
You may step down, ma'am.
We rest. We rest.
Okay. Mr. Smith?
Your Honor, at this time, I would move for a Rule 29 verdict. I don't think the state's brought sufficient evidence for me to even have to put on a defense based upon the actual alleged victim's statements that he was not physically harmed. The spitting, if it even happened, was gross, but it didn't cause physical harm. Grabbing the shirt didn't cause physical harm, and he didn't seek medical treatment. I find it somewhat incredible. The cigarette that was flicked at him somehow burned his head. There's no evidence of that, and I would ask that a dismissal be entered at this time.
Mr. Hill?
Your Honor, I think it's a cause or attempt to cause. And I think that if you say that, well, he didn't get hurt, he just got shoved, he just got spit on, he just got, none of those things are illegal.
There was no
at this
evidence he
point.
was shoved. She
Well,
said-
I'm
he said
sorry, I
she-
shouldn't have said shoved.
Okay. Let him
I'm
argue
sorry,
me.
I'm-
He's not arguing to you,
I'm-
Mr.
I'm-
Smith.
And I apologize for
Be
saying
quiet.
shoved is not what I meant. But whatever that was, where she had him by the shirt and he was trying to get away. I don't see how you can say that that's not any kind of an offense, and I don't know what it would be besides an assault.
How about menacing?
Well, I mean, if-
Charged. Okay, it's thin, it's very thin, but I think the spitting is gonna be enough to get by a directed verdict, so I'll allow it to go on. Up to you now, where's your evidence?
Call Robert Slaughter, Judge.
Robert Slaughter, come into court.
Everybody else has to stay out.
They gotta stay out. You guys gotta stay out. Take some, come on. You guys gotta
Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Your Honor. State your name for the record, please.
Robert Slaughter?
And Mr. Slaughter, do you know my client?
Yes.
How do you know my client?
She's actually my spouse, my wife.
Okay. And directing your attention to August 10th, earlier this year, did you and your wife have an occasion to go to the South Point Park?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know approximately what time of day you went there?
It was probably about, I want to say it was probably between 9 and 10.
Okay. It was dark.
Yeah, it was dark.
And for what purpose did you go to South Point Park?
My daughter, actually, my niece called and said, hey, your daughter,
Let's use names. What's your niece's name?
Shaylee McCoy.
Okay.
Shaylee had called me and said, hey, some boy pushed your daughter. It was an unidentified man at the time. So I grabbed my keys, me and my wife was heading out the door. As we was heading out the door, we get a phone call from my daughter, Chloe, and said that her uncle had shoved her up against the wall. So we went down there to check on her and to tell him to keep his hands to himself. And in the process of doing that, the gentleman was like, we were sitting in the car, she got out of the car, I was still in the car, and the
Okay, she
gentleman...
got out of the car. My client?
Yes,
Okay.
Amy had got out of the car to go check on Chloe.
Okay.
And then I was sitting there and I heard Dad real loud, and I looked up and I noticed there was a man running across the field. I had no idea who he was, so I got out the car and was going towards them screaming. And then 3 cars over, it was a Honda minivan. The lady had jumped out and was running across the field as well, same direction. And we had no idea what was going on. When I got there, the guy was in her face. So I'm not gonna lie, I got in the middle of it and I pushed him back and said, you got one time to touch my wife. And I said, I'll put hands on you. I don't even care. And then I was trying to figure out who touched my daughter, and then when I realized who it was, I was like, well, we just need to tell him to keep his hands to himself.
And did you or your wife, well, first of all, who did you think pushed your daughter?
Austin.
Okay.
Because Chloe had called and said, hey, Austin pushed me, Uncle Austin pushed me.
So did you or your wife, my client, approach Austin?
No, she approached our daughter to check on our daughter, and then all she said, she was a distance probably where me and you are, and she said, if you touch my daughter again, and that's all she said. She said, don't ever put hands on her again.
So I'm straight, and more importantly, so the judge can follow this.
Yeah,
Amy
at
says
that
this
point
to
in time,
Austin.
yeah, that you were this distance, and then by the time that I got there, everybody was into a corral.
Okay.
And I had no idea what was going over there. They were yelling back and forth. It was a screaming match, and that guy was in her face, and
You
that's
say
when I shoved him
you
back.
didn't have any idea what was going on over there. Was it because of the distance or the darkness or both?
At the time, it was because of distance.
Did you ever see your wife cause or attempt to cause physical harm to Austin?
No, sir.
And were you close enough that you should have been able to see that if in fact it happened?
Yeah, I mean, as a fact, if it would have happened, yeah, I was close enough to see that.
Wasn't the bush in front of you,
At-
swing set, nothing blocking your view?
No, it was just a straight shot from the car where I was parked at.
You never saw her attempt or cause or attempt to cause physical harm to Austin?
No.
Nothing further, Judge.
Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honor. So when your wife got out of the car and headed over to where the other people were, did you stay in the car?
I did.
So you weren't directly right there where the incident took place?
No, and neither was James Christian or that lady at the time that everything first started, because he jetted. Okay, South Point Park, I don't know if you're familiar with the South Point Park or not, where the like the picnic tables are.
Mm-hmm.
That is where the guy was. And then, like I said, the lady that was with the kids was 3 cars parked over from me in a Honda Odyssey minivan. And like I said, we seen him running across the field. That's when we got out. We heard the screaming, the arguing, like you could hear screaming back and forth and all that stuff. But we never physically seen any physical contact, just a bunch of screaming as I went over there. But like I said, by the time that I got here, there was already a man in her face. So I pushed him back and told him if he didn't back up, then he was going to deal with me.
So it was dark already,
Yeah.
and you were quite a ways away when this all started.
But it's lit up via the lights. They do have lights, and you can see the equipment and the bathrooms and the walk path.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Raises no, redirect, Judge.
You may sit down, sir.
Call my client this time, Judge.
All right. Ma'am, if you come up to the witness stand, I'll swear you in. Raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
You may be seated. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor. State your name for the record, please.
Amy Slaughter.
I said, state your name for the record, please. What's your name?
Amy Slaughter.
Okay. And Amy, you are married to Robert Slaughter, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And are you the mother of Chloe Slaughter?
Yes.
Okay. Did there come a time on August 10th of this year that caused you to be at South Point Park?
Yes.
Why did you go to South Point Park on August 10th?
Because my daughter called me crying that Austin had shoved her against the wall.
And how do you know Austin? Or do you know Austin? I'm just asking that.
He's my brother.
Okay. So you went to the South Point Park. Do you recall what time of day or night it was, evening?
About 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Okay. Was it dark at that point?
Yes.
Okay. When you arrived at the South Point Park that evening, what happened?
Well, I showed up, I got out of the car, and I walked up there where my kids were. And I asked them what was going on, and they said Austin keeps shoving Chloe against the wall. And I asked why, and he said, because I'm not allowed to talk to him, and he's cussing the kids and everything else. So I just told him, you know, like, then stay away from him. You know, my kids have been at that park all day long. Not saying anybody has to leave, you know, it's a park. But like, if there's like someone there you don't get along with, you don't want to be around, it's easy for anybody to just leave. And he started cussing me out and everything else, and I tried to turn around and get Chloe so we could, you know, go the opposite direction.
You heard his testimony earlier, correct?
What, sir?
You heard Austin's testimony earlier,
Yes.
and he testified that you grabbed his shirt, as did another witness.
No,
Do you
sir.
recall grabbing his shirt?
No, sir, I wasn't even that close to him to even be able to touch him.
What about the allegations regarding throwing or tossing a cigarette, hitting him in the side of the head?
I do not smoke, and I used to, like back in, I want to say 2011, but I have lung condition, and I can't even pick up a cigarette now.
What about spitting in his face?
No, sir, I would not do that to anybody. That's very nasty.
So you did not grab his shirt, throw a cigarette at him, or spit in his face?
No, sir.
Nothing further, Judge.
Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, how far do you live from the park?
Let's see here. I can tell you it's a walking distance, maybe about maybe 2 miles down the road. 3.2.
How old is Chloe, your daughter?
Chloe is 13 years old, sir.
And it was after dark.
Yes, sir.
Who was she there with?
Shaylee, Zoe, Hayden, Brandon, and herself.
Are those other
There was
of
just,
your children? Or
yeah, there was just 4 kids, yeah.
all your children?
Or no, 6 kids, and 2 of them was my niece.
2 of them was your nieces?
Yes.
And then the others?
4 was my kids.
Okay. Were there any adults with them?
No.
How did you find out that this was going on?
My daughter has a cell phone. She called me.
And she said, remember his name, Austin is pushing me.
She said Austin had shoved her up against the bathroom wall.
So you were talking to her on the phone, and she's within walking distance of home. Did you say, why don't you get home? It's time for you to get home anyway.
No, sir. It was dark, so we had just went and picked them up. That way they wasn't out walking, you know, in the dark.
But they were okay to be in the park at dark?
Well, before she had called, I had just told my husband that I needed to, we need to get ready to go get them because it's getting dark. And so that's what we was getting ready to do, but then I ended up getting a phone call from Chloe where she was crying where Austin had shoved her against the wall.
So how did they get to the park?
I dropped them off.
And leave them just past dark? And let me ask you this question. We'll strike that last question. Chloe's 13.
Yes, sir.
Are there any older kids than her that were in her group?
Shaylee, she's 14.
Okay. And then there were some that were like a lot younger, right?
My son would have been the youngest.
How old is he?
He is 8.
Okay. So you trust them to
Yes, sir.
take care of him?
I trust my 2 oldest to watch them, yes.
What is your family connection, or whatever your connection is, to Austin Crabtree?
Austin is my stepbrother. His mom is married to my dad.
In the process of a divorce.
Ma'am, out. You're out of order. If you don't speak up and testify in a case from the gallery, go out to the lobby.
Was there something between Austin and Chloe or your families where Austin was told not to say anything, or to not have any contact with Chloe?
To be honest with you, sir, I've never had any problems with Austin. Austin used to come and spend the night at my house and stay for weeks at a time, yeah. So I didn't understand why we were arguing or why he was so mad, because this was not Austin, like, we never argued or anything like that.
Is there something that's going on in the family right now that has caused some tension or some?
Sir, there is, but that's nothing to do with me. And I'm assuming it has nothing to do with Austin. I mean, Marissa, sorry, I won't use names. Marissa had asked my dad for a divorce, but this was like weeks after the incident. And that's the only thing I can think of on that is they are getting a divorce.
And if Austin testified that he was told not to say anything to Chloe, was told to not have any contact, she comes up to him and says, "Can I use your phone charger?" He says, "I'm not allowed to talk to you." Do you think there's any truth to that?
Probably not, because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't even aware that he wasn't even allowed to have any communications with him.
That's all I have.
No further questions, Judge?
You may sit down.
Might have just a moment, Judge. No further witnesses, Judge.
Anything further
That's
to
rest.
say? No, Your Honor. I find the defendant not guilty. I don't find the evidence has reached the level that it needs to be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. And there's not proof of physical harm required. This is a very, very serious charge. And this evidence does not meet that. This has been exploded and made bigger than it should be. Case is dismissed.
Thank you, Judge.
Court's adjourned. Okay, we have Michael Tilley to deal with too. Yes. Mr. Stratton still coming?
State of Ohio versus Michael Tilley Jr., CRB 2437. Okay. Ready. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Did Roger leave?
He was just here. I think he's out in the lobby. Oh, you got his phone.
Yeah.
He'll be coming back.
Can I just, tell him, make sure he doesn't leave without Roger.
He may want to take some video while he's up there. All right, Mr. Tilley, I'll hear from you now. What sayeth you about the things you represented to the court previously?
Well, I know for a fact that I called you when Patrick told me that January 15th I was supposed to come soon. So I need to go down there and see what the hell's going on.
You got anything else you want to tell me?
You seem to have a liar. I understand that you try to find me. I understand all that, but I need to go.
Why don't you leave with that?
Yes, sir.
Let's try it. You're digging yourself a hole, a Christmas hole in the jail so far. So let's try it. You want to talk to him first before he comes back out here?
Your Honor,
There needs to be a little contrition and repentance. So let's go talk back in the holding cell. Don't start off with the excuses right off the bat where you're not at fault. Hello?